Welcome back, basketball fanatics, to what might just be the most consequential, earth-shattering, and defining moment of the modern basketball era. I need you to drop whatever it is you are doing right now. Pull up a chair and give me your undivided attention, because the tectonic plates of the National Basketball Association are shifting beneath our very feet. We are not just talking about minor roster tweaks or free agency whispers. We are talking about the absolute titans of the hardwood, the defining players of a generation, potentially reshaping the entire balance of power in a matter of days. The summer of 2026 is officially off the rails, and if you thought the previous off-seasons were wild, you have absolutely no idea what is brewing behind closed doors, in front offices, and across the encrypted text messages of the most powerful agents in the sport. Today, we are breaking down a trifecta of basketball royalty. We are talking about the unstoppable force from Greece, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and the incredibly complex continuation of his trade saga. We are talking about the Slim Reaper himself, Kevin Durant, a basketball savant who can seemingly feel the shifting sands of time and franchise direction down in Houston. And finally, we are going to learn exactly what Anthony Davis wants, as a perennial all-star big man navigates a truly bizarre and highly scrutinized chapter of his legacy in the nation's capital. This is not a drill. This is the reality of the player empowerment era reaching its absolute apex, and we are going to dissect every single angle of it. Let us set the stage by looking at the sheer magnitude of what is happening with Giannis Antetokounmpo. For years, the narrative was incredibly simple. Giannis was the ultimate loyalist. He was the man who stayed. When other superstars were fleeing small markets for the glitz and glamour of the coasts, Giannis planted his flag in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He brought them a championship in 2021. Cementing his legacy in a city that had not tasted that level of basketball glory since the days of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He gave his blood, his sweat, and his absolute physical prime to the Bucks organization. But as the 2025 to 2026 season unfolded, something fundamental broke. The synergy dissolved. The roster aged rapidly around him. The defensive identity evaporated, and a devastating hyperextended knee led to a highly publicized, bitter medical dispute. Giannis felt he was ready to battle. The front office and medical staff shut him down. That breakdown in trust was the first domino. Now, the long-rumored trade is not just a fantasy cooked up on trade machines. It is a continuing saga that is sending shockwaves from the frosty shores of Lake Michigan all the way down to the sun-drenched, ruthless, culture-driven beaches of South Florida. The rumors of Giannis joining the Miami Heat refuse to die. Pat Riley, the ultimate orchestrator of superstar acquisitions, is lurking. The idea of pairing the Greek freak with Bam Adebayo creates a defensive front court, so terrify it borders on illegal. But what does this continuation mean? Does it mean the Bucks are holding out for an even bigger king's ransom? Does it mean other mystery teams are entering the fray? We are going to unpack every single layer of this Milwaukee-Miami standoff, because the implications stretch far beyond just two cities. This is a move that dictates the Eastern Conference for the next half-decade. But the madness does not stop in the Eastern Conference. We have to pivot our attention to the great state of Texas, where Kevin Durant is currently experiencing a profound professional realization. Kevin Durant can feel it. He can feel the temperature changing in the room. Just a short time ago, the Houston Rockets brought him in, believing he was the ultimate closer. The veteran presence needed to elevate a young, hungry, and aggressively rising team under Ime Udoka. Durant proved he is still a basketball deity, putting up numbers that defy human aging. But despite his brilliance, the Rockets find themselves looking up at the absolute juggernauts of the West. Durant is staring down his 20th NBA season. He is turning 38 years old. He knows his basketball mortality is looming, and he can feel the Houston front office quietly picking up the phone. They are not having a fire sale, but they are listening. Can you imagine the psychological toll this takes on a player of Durant's caliber? A man who lives and breathes pure basketball, suddenly realizing that his timeline and the franchise's timeline are completely out of sync. The rumors are already swirling, linking him to the San Antonio Spurs to pair with Victor Wembanyama, a concept so lethal it feels like a glitch in the simulation. Durant is feeling the urgency, feeling the window close, and feeling the need for one last definitive championship run. And if that wasn't enough to make your head spin, we must address the enigma that is Anthony Davis. From the heights of a championship in Los Angeles to the grueling injuries and the eventual, stunning trade that sent him packing to the Washington Wizards, AD's journey has been a roller coaster. Now, he finds himself surrounded by a rebuilding roster in a city miles away from contention. The Wizards claim he is their building block, but let's be painfully honest. What does Anthony Davis actually want at this stage of his career? He is in his mid-30s. Does he truly want to spend his twilight years shepherding a rebuilding team? The streets are talking, and they are saying he wants out. The Portland Trail Blazers are waiting. The Los Angeles Clippers are desperate. We're going to learn what AD truly desires, whether it's the comfort of Supermax or an insatiable, burning desire to climb the mountain one more time. This is a ruthless, unforgiving, spectacular drama where loyalty is a luxury and superstar movement is the only constant. We have three generational talents navigating the most complex intersections of their careers simultaneously. If you are not paying attention right now, you are missing out on the most pivotal offseason in modern history. Stay with me, because we are about to transition from the surface-level headlines into the absolute deepest dive imaginable. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Let us leave the casual talking points at the door and analyze this beautiful game like grandmasters studying a chessboard. We begin with the continuation of the Giannis Antetokounmpo trade saga. Why hasn't the ink dried? Why is this dragging out? The answer lies in the sheer, unprecedented valuation of a player like Giannis. When a two-time MVP and Defensive Player of the Year hits the market, there is no historical precedent that accurately dictates his worth. The Milwaukee Bucks are paralyzed by the fear of losing the trade. They are demanding a package that completely resets their franchise. We are talking 4 unprotected first-round picks, multiple pick swaps, and at least 2 foundational young players. Miami is offering Tyler Herro, Kel'el Ware, and future draft capital, but Milwaukee is squeezing them for absolutely everything. They want Jamie Jaquez Jr. They want total unprotected access to Miami's future in the 2030s. The holdup is a high-stakes game of chicken. Giannis has made his preference known, which diminishes Milwaukee's leverage. But the Bucks' general manager John Horst knows that his job and his legacy depends on this single transaction. Furthermore, the continuation of this saga opens the door for silent assassins in the league. Are the Oklahoma City Thunder hoarding their treasure chest of picks to make a sudden, overwhelming bid? Are the Golden State Warriors trying to find a way to pair Giannis with Steph Curry for one final, apocalyptic dynasty run? The longer this drags on, the more volatile the situation becomes. Giannis is reportedly growing impatient. He wants to be settled before training camp. The mechanics of this trade are incredibly complex due to the new collective bargaining agreement, the draconian luxury tax aprons, and salary matching rules. Every day this continues, the entire Eastern Conference remains in a holding pattern, terrified of the monster that is about to be unleashed. Next, we travel to Houston to examine the deeply fascinating psychological puzzle surrounding Kevin Durant. To say Kevin Durant can feel it is an understatement. He is highly attuned to the narrative surrounding him. Let's be clear, the Houston Rockets have a brilliant young core. Alperen Sengun is a majestic offensive hub, Jalen Green has explosive scoring gravity, and Amen Thompson is a defensive terror. But they are a few years away from truly terrifying the Denver Nuggets or the Oklahoma City Thunder. Durant does not have a few years. He has right now. He can feel the subtle shift in offensive priority. He can feel the front office weighing the immense value of his expiring contract against the reality of their contention window. When reports leak that the Rockets are willing to listen to offers, it is a calculated message. It tells Durant that he is expendable for the right price. Durant is a basketball purist. He wants to operate in a system that maximizes his efficiency and surrounds him with veteran intelligence. The rumors connecting him to the San Antonio Spurs are not just fan fiction. They are rooted in a deep mutual respect between Durant and Greg Popovich. Imagine Durant operating in the mid-post, with Victor Wembanyama diving to the rim. The spacing would be infinite. But Houston will not send him to a division rival without a king's ransom. Durant's other options? Perhaps a return to the Phoenix Suns is impossible. But what about the New York Knicks? What about a desperate team like the Philadelphia 76ers looking for a final piece? Durant is quietly observing the board. feeling the pressure, and preparing his camp to dictate his final destination. He will not go out on a rebuilding team. He will demand a stage worthy of his historic talent. Finally, we turn our magnifying glass onto Anthony Davis. To understand what AD wants, we have to look at the harsh reality of his situation in Washington. The Wizards front office speaks of commitment, but words are hollow in the NBA. Anthony Davis is recovering from injuries, watching his prime evaporate in a city that is fundamentally unequipped to compete for a title. What AD wants is relevance. He wants the bright lights. He wants the pressure that comes with playing late into May and June. Being the good soldier in Washington does not serve his legacy. It serves his bank account. But a competitor of his magnitude is not satisfied by money alone. He wants to silence the critics who label him fragile. The Portland Trail Blazers see him as the ultimate accelerator for their franchise, a defensive anchor who can change their entire trajectory. But the Los Angeles Clippers scenario is the most intriguing. The Clippers are desperate. Kawhi Leonard's window is basically closed. Pairing AD with Kawhi and whatever is left of that roster is a terrifying, injury-prone, boom or bust move of epic proportions. AD wants to return to a market that commands attention. He wants an organization with a proven medical staff capable of managing his load, and a roster that can hide his offensive lows while maximizing his defensive genius. The commitment Washington speaks of is merely a negotiating tactic. AD knows it, his agent Rich Paul knows it, and the entire league knows it. It is only a matter of time before the polite facade drops and the formal trade request is submitted. AD wants out, and he wants a ring. As we start to wrap up this incredibly deep dive into the state of the NBA, we have to take a step back and appreciate the sheer magnitude of the era we are currently living in. The summer of 2026 will forever be remembered as the summer of the superstar pivot. We are watching the old guard, the generational talents who have defined the last decade of basketball, desperately trying to secure their legacies as a new generation threatens to completely take over the league. What Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kevin Durant, and Anthony Davis all share at this very moment is a fundamental intolerance for mediocrity. They have reached the mountaintop. They know exactly what it takes to win an NBA championship. They know the sacrifice, the singular focus, and the required roster construction needed to hoist the Larry O'Brien trophy. When they look around their respective locker rooms, they all come to the same jarring realization. The current situation is simply not good enough. The player empowerment era is often criticized by those who long for the days of players staying with one franchise forever. But from a purely analytical standpoint, it is absolutely fascinating. These players are acting as their own general managers, orchestrating their futures, and forcing billion-dollar organizations to bend to their will. This level of player mobility ensures that the NBA product is never stagnant. The league is a living, breathing organism that constantly evolves and reshapes itself based on the desires of its most talented individuals. The drama off the court is often just as compelling, if not more compelling, than the action on the court. We are analyzing human psychology, organizational behavior, financial strategy, and athletic mortality, all wrapped into one incredible sports package. So what happens next? Nobody truly knows. Will the Miami Heat finally break the Bucks' resolve and land Giannis, or will a mystery team swoop in at the 11th hour? Will the Houston Rockets hold on to Kevin Durant and try to force a playoff run, or will they cave to the pressure and send him to a contender? Will the Washington Wizards actually build a winner around Anthony Davis, or is his departure to a Western Conference powerhouse already a foregone conclusion? The tension is palpable, and the resolutions to these storylines will dictate the champions of tomorrow. I want to know what every single one of you thinks about this absolute madness. Get down in the comments section right now and let your voice be heard. I read every single comment, and the debate we have down there is always top tier. If you enjoyed this incredibly detailed, no stone unturned breakdown of the biggest news in the basketball world, you absolutely must hit that like button. It tells the algorithm that we are doing real, substantive sports analysis here. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. The NBA moves at the speed of light, and I will be right here, breaking down every single trade and rumor as soon as it happens. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, for diving deep into the mentalities of these all-time greats. Enjoy the madness. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you all in the very next video. Before we officially sign off, I have to ask you, considering the massive injury risks and the sheer amount of future assets required, which of these three superstars, Giannis, Durant, or Davis, carries the absolute biggest risk for a team trading for them right now?